Hi guys, and welcome back to the Our Minds channel and another sit down video. Today's video is part 2 to the previous video that I put up, which was talking about depression and lack of hygiene. And that video was mainly for people who are very fortunate they themselves have never gone through a depressive episode, but they know somebody very, very well, quite close to them, who they think are or is. And from my experience and from what I've, heard from other people, lack of personal hygiene is one of the first things to go. What I mean by that is the way that you dress, the way that, or lack of combing your hair, or showering, having a bath, smelling lice, the clothes that you're wearing are looking shabby and a bit dirty. That's what I mean. Now, this video is the part 2 to it. And this one is just talking about knowing the difference between complete lack of personal hygiene. And the difference here is that if you generally have a complete lack of personal hygiene, you've always had that. You've always smelt that way, which is a bit stinky. You've always looked a bit shabby, and it's consistently been like that. As opposed to if you're going through a depressive episode and you're known for, keeping yourself up, taking pride in your appearance. And I'm not necessarily talking about wearing makeup and having the latest hairstyles and dressed in designer and all of that, but you don't stink. You comb your hair, you look presentable, you know? And I also want to say in this video, I don't want to offend anyone. And I am gonna, because I know we live in such a sensitive society right now, oh my God. But I'm gonna be as honest as I can. And again, this is just my opinion. You don't need to agree with my opinion. But I'm saying it for those who do, and also just to make you aware, all right? Because when we talk about, there are certain topics that when you speak about to the masses, to the public, everybody's got an opinion on them. And in today's society, it's like off with your head. You're going to be hung, drawn, and quartered if you even say the wrong, tiniest thing. So I'm just putting that disclaimer out there. You don't need to agree, but from my experience and also with the story that I'm about to say, hopefully, you'll kind of understand where I'm coming from. So, yeah, just know the difference between lack of personal hygiene when you're going through depression and general lack of personal hygiene in your everyday life. Now, it's important whether you are a parent or a guardian, or if you're looking after young children, to kind of teach children from a young age to look after themselves, to like clean themselves. And the reason why I say that is because when I was in primary school, oh my God, give me 1 second, my leg is going dead. I'm sitting on the floor. I thought, let me change up the scenery. So I'll come to the floor in front of my bed. Anyway, I used to go to primary school with this boy, and let's call this boy Gary. All right. Now, Gary had a stink on him. Oh yeah, Gary had a stink on him, and it was so bad that we, the kids, myself included, don't judge me. I was only 8 years old. Everybody changes. Amen. We gave him the nickname. I didn't give him the nickname, but I contributed in calling him this particular nickname. Don't judge me. Stink bomb. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We called him stink bomb because this poor boy, right, Gary, you would smell Gary before you saw Gary. Now, when you are somebody who people can smell you before they see you, you have a problem. And when I say that they can smell you, I don't mean like you're smelling nice. I mean you're smelling like gone off pickles, mustard, and egg mayonnaise. Like you're stinking. Now, obviously, I'm like primary school ages. For those of you who don't know what primary school is like first years of education from till, is it 11? No, what is it? 4 till 10? 4 till 10? Anyway, so he was young. He was a young boy. He wasn't particularly tall. He wasn't like big, because you know sometimes boys can have a, all of a sudden a huge growth spurt. He wasn't. He was a small child. He was a small child, and I even remember this one PE day, right? Excuse me. This one PE day, God had jokes that day. God had jokes that day because I was partnered with Gary. And back then, I'm 39 now, right? So back then, I can't do the math. Back then, in primary school, we would do PE indoors when we're in the gym in our vest and panties. So here I am being partnered with Gary. I nearly cried. Anyway, there I am. I'm partnered with Gary, and everybody else in the class, they're all sniggering because nobody wants to be half naked and doing PE and backward rolls and forward rolls and going on the apparatus with somebody that's smelling. Nobody does. All right. So here I am. I'm partnered with him. People are saying to me, "Oh, you're gonna be Mrs. Stink Bomb," because they were like, "Ah, if you hold his hand and if you get too close to him, then you're gonna attract the smell too, and the smell's gonna go on you." It was so silly. And when I tell you, I've never been more happy to hear the school bell ring than I did that day. Because I was like, what, 5 minutes away from meeting my maker. That is how bad the stench was. Anyway, fast forward now, what, if I'm, let's say 10, 15 years later, I'm talking with my brother. I have a younger brother. And he's saying to me that he has this friend. And his friend, well, he wasn't a friend, but he was a friend of a friend. Stay with the story. And he was saying how this friend of a friend stank. And I'm just there listening to him, blah, 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 blah. He's talking, he's talking, he's talking. And then he says to me, oh, he's got a younger brother that went to, I'm not going to say the name of the school, that went to school. That's the name of the primary school, but I'm not going to actually say the name of the primary school. Anyway, and I was like, who's that? And he said, oh yeah, he said his name is Gary. I was like, I beg your pardon? And he goes, yeah, do you know him? I was like, know him? I can still remember his smell. This is my brother telling me this many, many years later. Anyway, to cut a very long story short, come to find out that Gary had a younger brother. That younger brother had a friend, and that friend knows my brother. They had all gone out. This is big grown men. They'd all gone out, and my brother had met Gary's younger brother on that night out, and he was like, wow, you stink. So then it had me thinking, like, okay. So, you know, sometimes when you look back on life and you think to yourself, oh, all right, um, I don't know, you just think about people you used to know, people you went to uni with, college with, old work friends. I used to think at some point that, oh, maybe Gary had a medical condition. When I then found out that Gary's younger brother also had the same stench that Gary had, I was like, what are the chances that two siblings have the same stench? And they're not that far apart in age, I believe. And I thought, wow, story thickens even more. He had a younger brother who also had the same stench on him. So at that point, it made me think, maybe, just maybe, he was never taught how to shower, to bathe, to clean himself. And it's not the worst thing in the world. Really, it's not the worst thing in the world. When you look at the world today, there are many, much more things that are worse than, oh, I was never taught how to bathe. Then it's okay. It's okay, because we can always rectify that, you know? It's easier to rectify the funk that's underneath your armpits and private parts, as opposed to, you know, the deep and dark psychologicalness that goes on in the mind. That's a fact. And if you don't think that's a fact, then God bless you, we'll pray for you. So the point of the video is to know that, is to understand the difference between depression and lack of hygiene, and depression and lack of hygiene with depression, and just having lack of hygiene consistently all the time. That's your everyday way of smelling. And we all, let's call a spade a spade. We all know those people. We all know those people who, they don't smell that good. It could be your work colleague, it could be your teacher. Yes, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I don't even know what went on behind closed doors in Gary's household. But as an adult now, and having gone through what I've been through, you know, when I've had my depressive episodes, and also hearing other people's stories and from what I've experienced, because I'm so old and I've been living a very long time. No, I'm joking. Well, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. I mean, I'm not that old, but I've had experiences. I've now come to realize that there is a difference between the two. And I'm passing that on to you guys so that you know that there's a difference between the two. And to really know what the differences are. And if you are somebody, I mean, okay, what I'm about to say, um, I mean it with all love, no hate, all love. And yes, I'm not a parent. Yes, I'm not a guardian. Yes, I've never been a parent. Yes, I've never been a guardian. But just my opinion. You do not need to agree. Just my opinion. All right. I do think it's important for parents to teach their children how to clean themselves from a young age. I do. I do. I don't think it's that bad to to say, but I do, because I know that my mum, wow, my mum, when I was a child, even now as an adult, I'm a grown adult. Even when I was a child, my mum would not let me go to bed without having my bath. My mum would give me a sponge, she would give me a face towel, and she would give me a big towel. Not just me, because I've got a sister and a brother, all of us. 3 different towels, well, 2 towels and a sponge to clean ourselves. We would use a different towel for our face and a sponge for our body. I remember being a child, I haven't hit puberty yet. I remember this one time going into my shower, going into my shower, and you're a kid, you have no inhibitions, you don't really care that you're naked and stuff. I'm having my bath, and I'm not using my sponge, I'm using my hands. My mum nearly knocked me senseless. She's like, what are you doing? She was like, no, use the sponge, like clean yourself. And I was like, why am I gonna clean myself with my hands? Anyway, to each their own, to each their own. But it just made me laugh, because fast forward a few years later, there was this, does anyone else remember that whole big thing of exfoliation? Oh, use a hand mitt to exfoliate your body. And I'm looking at this new phenomenon and I'm like, I've been doing that since I was about 4 years old. I mean, yeah, my mum started, but we would have the sponge. Oh, sorry, battery was running low, I had to plug it in. We would have the sponge and we would, wash ourselves. And it's important because I always talk about going for walks to improve your mental health, and doing something, one thing every day that makes you feel good, providing that it doesn't hurt or harm other people. Eating well, not necessarily eating spinach and kale and all that stuff. Yeah, that's great. Drink it, eat it, however you want to consume it. But having a bag of chips is not going to kill you. But also being clean in your body, taking pride in your appearance also helps with your mental health, because it makes you feel good. In my whole life of living, I've never met anyone or read or I've never heard of anyone saying, oh, having a bath or having a shower, moisturizing my knees and my toes and elbows, it makes me really, really sad. What is going on with my phone? Hold on a second. Sorry guys, forgive me. My phone is acting like a child, and this, this is the devil's work. The devil doesn't want the message to come out. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I've never met anyone who's actually said, oh, having a shower, having a bath, creaming myself, wearing deodorant, that makes me depressed. I've never. I've never. And I say this with love. If you are somebody who you get depressed, and I'm not joking, I'm being deadly serious here. If you're somebody who taking a shower, sitting in the bath, moisturizing your skin, cleaning your teeth, brushing your hair, wearing deodorant, um, wearing antiperspirant causes you to be depressed, or it triggers a depressive episode, God bless you. We'll pray for you. Because being clean is hella important. It really, really is. So, guys, know the difference, okay? Watch this video, or mainly watch the previous video again a couple times, and just take pride in your appearance. Because when you smell good, you feel good. When you wash, you feel good. When you put on an attire and it's clean and it's your right size and it makes you feel good. When you comb your hair, it makes you feel good. Feel good for yourself. And when you feel good within, your confidence starts to show. And when your confidence starts to show, like humility, let's be humble here. When your confidence starts to show, other people pick up on that, and then you become a magnet and you start to attract people that are for you. People want to be around you, you know? So take pride in your appearance. Those of you out there who um unfortunately, somebody who you think is going through depression, like I said, I'm going to hammer it home. Look out for their how they their hygiene, how they look, because that is the biggest giveaway sign. I also want to quickly add on here, which is what this video is about. Just because somebody is lacking in their personal hygiene doesn't always mean that they're going through a depressive episode. Like I said, take note from Gary. Now, Gary might have been going through something. He might have been going through something, but from what I remember at school, he was all right. As an adult, the odd times that I would see him around the area, again, he was all right. But like I said, I don't know what was going on in his personal life. I don't know what was going on behind those those four walls. But when your younger brother and your baby brother are smelling from the same stench that you were, I just think I just feel that maybe you were not taught. So as always, guys, hope you got something from this video. Again, I hope I didn't offend. I don't mean to offend, but in order to get something honest and truthful out there, like that saying goes, the truth does hurt. It does hurt. As always, guys, you can follow me on my socials, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.